Welcome to the Past in Pictures channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. The transport of the Fat Man device, dropped on Nagasaki on August 9, 1945, marked a decisive point in the end of World War II. This episode accelerated Japan's surrender, ended the conflict, and opened the nuclear age, which deeply changed global geopolitics in the second half of the 20th century. The Apollo 1 crew trained in 1966, preparing for the mission that would symbolize the United States' effort in the space race. Despite the serious 1967 incident with the loss of the astronauts during a test, the mission drove crucial advances in aerospace safety and technology, influencing future lunar exploration. During the Hunger Winter of 1944 and 1945 in The Hague, children received about 17 fluid ounces of supplemental food each day from the Interkerkelijk Bureau for Noodvoedselvoorziening and Kinderuitzending, a vital initiative that sought to ease the effects of hunger caused by the German blockade in the Netherlands, showing civilian suffering during World War II. Maria Ginesta, at 17 years old, symbolizes the youth involved in the Spanish Civil War, which in 1937 divided Spain between Republicans and nationalists. This conflict marked a deep social and political crisis, leading to the consolidation of an authoritarian government that shaped decades of strong control in the country. Children evacuated during World War II received protection in safe places like this one in Middlesex, England in 1941, to keep them away from German air raids, especially during the Blitz. This experience shaped the childhood of thousands and was crucial for protecting civilian lives during the conflict. A United States Marine Corps tank escorts prisoners of war through a destroyed village on September 26, 1950, during the Korean War. This conflict resulted in the permanent division of the peninsula and shaped the political tensions between North and South Korea that continue today. An undercover police officer stops an attack with a sharp object on the streets of Glasgow in 1971, a period when the city faced strong urban tension and social challenges. This moment reflects the growing action of British police in response to crime, reinforcing safety in important urban areas. The fall of the Berlin Wall in November 1989 symbolized the end of the division between East and West Germany, marking the beginning of the end of the Cold War. This event made German reunification possible and inspired the wave of democratization in Central and Eastern Europe. Solidarity among citizens was crucial in this process. The B-17 Flying Fortress bombers, lined up at Kingman Army Airfield in Arizona, symbolized the end of World War II in 1945. These aircraft were crucial in air bombing campaigns that weakened Axis power. Their abandonment reflects the transition to the jet aviation era and the shift in military strategies. Jane Mansfield, an actress who symbolized the 1960s, poses in Cannes, a place famous for the International Film Festival that boosted careers in cultural productions. In 1964, events like this strengthened the global film industry, marking the peak of the actress's stardom and the cultural energy of the time. A large military piece appears in operation at night in France in 1918, highlighting the power of war technologies during World War I. This major conflict redefined military strategies, accelerating large-scale innovations that influenced decisive confrontations and led to the armistice of November 11, 1918. The Titanic departed on its maiden voyage on April 10, 1912, a milestone of naval engineering that symbolized the technological progress of the time. Its outcome a few days later led to strict changes in maritime safety rules, forever transforming passenger transportation. Veterans gathered in Gettysburg in 1913 returned to the Bloody Angle, the site of one of the most intense clashes of 1863 in the American Civil War, where about 3,000 soldiers lost their lives. This reunion symbolizes reconciliation between former enemies, strengthening national unity after decades of deep divisions. Conjoined twins. Margaret and Mary Gibb drew attention in the 1940s by challenging strict social standards about disability and emotional independence. This photograph shows progress in recognizing individual identity despite physical limitations. These social changes anticipated debates about the rights of people with disabilities. Martin Joe Lorello became famous in the early 20th century for showing the rare talent of turning his head 180 degrees, something considered extraordinary for the time. This feat drew attention in variety shows, illustrating the fascination with incredible acts that mixed science and entertainment in the age of circuses and traveling shows. A man climbs the torch of the Statue of Liberty in the 1930s, a time that symbolizes the consolidation of this icon of freedom for immigrants. The statue, inaugurated in 1886, became a landmark of hope for millions arriving in New York, representing a lasting symbol of freedom and opportunity in America. The ban on pinball machines in cities such as New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles took place between the 1940s and 1970s because of their association with gambling. This led to the destruction of many machines, influencing electronic game culture and entertainment regulation in urban areas. In 1969, Niagara Falls were temporarily dried for inspection and maintenance after hydroelectric development. This event made it possible to evaluate erosion and ensure the safety of the structures, showing the importance of human control in preserving one of the world's largest waterfalls. Claudia Cardinale stood out as one of the biggest stars of 1960s Italian cinema, a time when European film was gaining global attention. Her talent and beauty contributed to the success of iconic films, helping popularize Italian neorealism and establish European cinema as a cultural reference. Che Guevara takes part in a congada dance with children at a kindergarten in Shanghai in 1960 during his stay in China to strengthen ties with the local government. This visit marked an important moment in Latin American political efforts, expanding international alliances amid the ideological disputes of the period. The Grand Trunk Ferry crossing the Detroit River around 1905 shows the importance of water transportation in the economic integration between the United States and Canada, supporting trade and regional mobility. This service contributed to industrial growth and the development of border cities at the time. Allied soldiers established forward bases in the Pacific during World War II, a period when the presence of local animals, such as the baby kangaroo beside the service member in 1942, symbolized cultural closeness and adaptation in the theater of war, expanding logistical support and human connection. The Bulaz 540 dump truck was a landmark of Soviet industry in the 1970s, symbolizing advances in heavy mining. Its strength made it possible to extract natural resources on a large scale, affecting the Soviet economy and strengthening the country's industrial presence. This technology influenced the sector globally. The performers of the Barnum and Bailey Circus in New York in 1924 represent an era when the circus was one of the main forms of popular entertainment, drawing crowds with varied shows. This period is notable because the traveling circus influenced American culture before the arrival of television. Zorita, a famous American performer, poses with her snake in 1939 at the height of circus entertainment show business. Her appearances in shows and films popularized the fascination with exotic animals, contributing to the spectacle culture of the time and influencing popular ideas about snakes and performances. Annie Oakley was a famous 19th century sharpshooter, known for her accuracy and skill with firearms. In 1899, she demonstrated innovative techniques such as aiming with the help of hand mirrors, which strengthened women's role in sport shooting and popular entertainment. Her fame marked a point in history. The 1973 oil crisis caused gasoline shortages in the Netherlands, leading drivers to stop on the highway for a picnic while waiting for fuel. This event highlighted global economic vulnerability and pushed the search for alternative energy sources, transforming social and industrial habits. A Russian worker in Stalingrad in 1930 represents the effort of Soviet industrialization during the Stalin era. The rapid expansion of factories aimed to turn the Soviet Union into an industrial power, strengthening state control over the economy and raising the country's position on the world stage. James Abram Garfield, a young president of the United States, governed in 1881 during a period marked by political tensions after the Civil War. His term was brief, as he died only a few months after taking office, a fact that led to reforms in presidential security measures and influenced 19th-century American politics. Ox trains, like the one used to carry supplies in the Arizona Territory in 1883, were essential for regional development before railroad expansion. These methods supported trade and settlement, reflecting the importance of logistics in the colonization of the American West, shaped by the region's dryness and natural challenges. Two girls sitting on a metal stairway in a poor New York neighborhood in 1890 hold a large loaf of bread and a pretzel. This scene portrays the harsh conditions of immigrants in the city when industrialization created population growth and urban poverty, shaping American social reality. The photograph records a young woman on her wedding day at 17 years old in 1956, a time marked by post-war conservatism and the value placed on the traditional family. This decade was significant in defining women's roles, reinforcing early marriage as a social norm. Nikola Tesla developed the first wireless telecommunications tower, opening an era of transatlantic communication and wireless transmission of electrical energy. This innovation, which took place in the early 20th century, revolutionized telephony and radio, opening paths for modern global communication and future technologies. Howard Hughes piloted the Spruce Goose flying boat in 1940, a 440,000-pound aircraft that became an aviation milestone because of its size and plywood construction. Although it never entered active service, it symbolizes the technological innovation and aerospace challenges of the time. Howard Carter led the excavation of Pharaoh Tutankhamun's tomb in Egypt in 1922, revealing one of the most important archaeological finds of the 20th century. This discovery expanded knowledge of ancient Egyptian civilization, sparked worldwide fascination, and advanced Egyptology. The context reflects the scientific effort of the time. Photographer Charles Ebbets recorded the iconic lunch break of workers building the Empire State Building on September 20, 1932, a symbol of industrial progress and economic recovery in the United States during the Great Depression, highlighting collective effort in a difficult moment. The production of the Volkswagen Type II in Wolfsburg in the 1950s symbolized Germany's industrial recovery after World War II. This vehicle, known as the Kombi, became a cultural icon and helped boost the economy, marking a key point in popular European motorization and the globalization of transportation. An inn in Delamere, North Dakota, appears in the rural setting of the 19th century, near the railroad expansion that encouraged the growth of small towns. These houses welcomed migrant workers, reflecting the economic and social transformation of the region in the 1890s, when the American West was taking shape. Ralph Edwards and Marilyn Monroe took part in the Hollywood Artists Baseball Game in 1952, an event that brought together movie and sports stars. The occasion helped popularize baseball as cultural entertainment, reinforcing its importance in the post-war decade. Monroe's fame added to the spectacle's appeal. The Beach Boys, an iconic surf rock band, appear beside Santa Claus in December 1963, a moment that marked the popularization of youth culture and California music. That year was crucial because only a few weeks earlier, the death of John F. Kennedy had deeply affected the United States. Petre Mshveniaradze, a legendary Georgian player from the Soviet Union, stood out in water polo, a sport that gained international attention through Soviet success during the 20th century. In 1990, beside his grandson, he symbolized the passing of generations during a period of intense political and social transition. The club saloon symbolizes the social environment of small Texas towns in the mid-19th century, when saloons were centers of gathering, leisure, and business. This type of establishment played a fundamental role in the economic and cultural expansion of the Old West, offering meeting spaces for workers and local residents. Jonathan, the tortoise, was photographed in 1886 at 54 years old. He is considered the oldest living land animal and will turn 193 years old. His longevity shows advances in conservation and wildlife study, highlighting the importance of animal preservation in the 19th and 20th centuries. The transformation of Seattle's rugged terrain began in 1897, with hills being leveled until 1930, reshaping the city center. This work allowed urban expansion and supported economic growth, preparing Seattle to become a major industrial and commercial hub in the 20th century. Architect Moshe Safdie revolutionized residential construction with Habitat 67, created for Expo 67 in Montreal. This modular complex is a landmark of brutalist architecture, standing out for its innovative use of prefabricated units and influencing modern urban housing and sustainable city planning. The GM assembly line in Tarrytown celebrated the 50 millionth car produced, a major milestone in the automobile industry in the 1960s. This achievement symbolized America's capacity for mass production and the economic impact of large-scale manufacturing, driving mobility and consumption. Employees of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York weigh gold bars in 1959, a symbol of America's reserves under the gold standard. This practice reinforces the importance of physical holdings for monetary credibility before the adoption of fiat money, marking an era of post-war financial stability. The reunion between the woman and the British soldier symbolizes hope after the end of World War II in 1945, a milestone that brought peace and reconstruction to Europe. This moment expresses the return of fighters and the beginning of global social and economic recovery, reflecting the importance of the conflict's end. Before GPS technology, the Netherlands in 1963 depended on telephone exchanges to guide navigators, illustrating a crucial transition in navigation. This pioneering system made precise directions easier, reflecting advances that would revolutionize transportation and communication around the world in the following decades. In the early 1970s, it was still possible to park under the Eiffel Tower, the greatest symbol of Paris, before measures to preserve the site and increase tourism-restricted vehicle access in the area. This change marked an important step in valuing cultural heritage and reorganizing the city's urban space. The train. The Grande 5521, typical of the 1950s, symbolizes the era of railroad transportation in the United States, marked by the transition from steam to diesel. This change boosted economic development and mobility, strengthening the role of railroads in post-war modernization. The Ford Thunderbird stands out as an icon of 1950s automobile design, symbolizing post-war American culture and the growth of the auto industry. Launched in the middle of the decade, this model influenced mobility and the lifestyle of that generation, becoming a relevant historical landmark. Nash Motors, founded in 1916, stood out as one of the pioneer automobile manufacturers in the United States. In the 1930s, by innovating with modernist architecture, it promoted advanced technology and design. This expansion reflected the growth of the auto industry and its growing influence on the economy and urban culture. André Grapperon, a known French rider from the early 20th century, stood out in early motorcycle competitions in 1905, when the sport was still in its beginning stages. His participation helped strengthen the popularity of racing and the evolution of V-twin engines, which were important for the development of modern motorcycles. The Los Angeles ostrich farm in the late 19th century used ostriches to pull carriages, showing a curiosity and use of exotic animals for public transportation and entertainment. This phenomenon reflected fascination with the exotic and the search for innovation before automobiles became widespread. The prospector in Nome, Alaska, around 1905, represents the height of the Alaska Gold Rush, which began in 1898 and attracted thousands in search of wealth. This movement drove economic development and settlement in the region, turning it into an important mining and cultural center in the northern United States. The 1872 expedition camp brings together Logan, Carrington, and Negley, reflecting the exploratory spirit of the United States in the 19th century. This journey contributed to territorial expansion and the mapping of harsh areas, a fundamental base for the country's later economic and population development. Visitors watch animals at the London Zoo in 1933, when the site represented a place of leisure and education in Great Depression London. This zoo, founded in 1828, was a pioneer in the preservation and study of exotic species, influencing future conservation policies around the world. Men dressed formally, with hats and gloves, beside a Coca-Cola delivery truck with wooden wheels, reveal the early days of industrial distribution. In the 1920s, the expansion of brands like Coca-Cola marked the consolidation of advertising and mass distribution in the United States, transforming consumption. The first civic parade in Los Angeles, held on July 4, 1871, marked the celebration of United States Independence Day. This event showed the city's growth in the 19th century and its integration into national traditions, strengthening patriotism and cultural identity during a period of rapid urban and social expansion. Everyday life in Vicksburg, Mississippi, in 1936 reveals a city shaped by the Depression, with busy streets and architecture typical of the 1930s. This setting reflects a crucial moment before World War II, showing the resilience of local communities in the face of the global economic crisis and its social consequences. This rare 1926 photograph brings together Stalin, Trotsky, Molotov, Kamenev, and Zinoviev at the funeral of Felix Dzerzhinsky, an important Soviet figure. Later, Stalin would order the detention or elimination of most of them, marking the advance of political persecution in the Soviet Union. The prices in cents on the menu suggest the United States in the 1950s, a period marked by the growth of fast food culture and the post-war economic rise. The popularization of fried chicken contributed to changes in American eating habits and lifestyle, influencing cuisines around the world. The advertisement Batavia, La Cerveza Liviana, reflects the growth of light beer consumption in Latin America in the 1970s and 1980s, when industrialization and urbanization expanded this market. This trend affected social habits, strengthening leisure spaces such as popular sports fields. At Greyhound terminals in Los Angeles around 1969, it was possible to rent half an hour of time to watch television for 25 cents, reflecting growing access to technology and the beginning of individualized media consumption, which would expand in the following decades and influence social and commercial habits. Leaders and officials wearing formal clothing in an administrative setting show the European bureaucratic structure of the early 20th century. This era marked the strengthening of the modern state, with institutional hierarchies that drove political and social organization, influencing economic and cultural development. The poster announces La Valse dans l'ombre, with Vivian Leigh and Robert Taylor, prominent artists of classic cinema. This film marked the 1940s, reflecting the influence of the movie industry on world culture, important for spreading the values and artistic styles of that period. It was shown in October. The poster with the English phrase points to shared spaces, common in hotels and hostels in the 1960s. At that time, tourism was growing globally, encouraging rules for living together and respecting other people's property, reflecting changes in leisure culture and the expansion of international tourism services. Equations related to orbital motion have dominated astronomical studies since the 17th century, especially after Kepler's laws, which explained the path of planets around the Sun. These formulas were essential for the advance of celestial physics, influencing the development of classical mechanics and space exploration. The Carter family, immigrants from Barbados and Toronto, photographed in 1936, symbolizes Caribbean migration waves to Canada. During this period, the country went through social changes as it absorbed new groups, which contributed to cultural diversity and strengthened the urban community fabric. Rural families in West Virginia lived in simple cabins in the early 20th century, reflecting pioneer life before the region's industrialization. In 1900, the way of life was still based on subsistence farming, with log structures that symbolized resilience and self-reliance in the remote area. Families at celebrations such as weddings in early 20th century Norway reflected local traditions, when marriage was a social and community event. The year 1900 points toward Norway's consolidation as an independent country in 1905, a milestone that strengthened cultural identity and regional customs. In the family setting of the 1950s, full dresses and short veils marked wedding tradition, reflecting post-war culture that valued stability and a return to classic ceremonies. Marriage symbolized social renewal and hope for a new cycle for families. 4 children carefully cross floating logs over the water, reflecting a daily life of challenges in the 1960s. This period marked strong social change, with many rural areas still depending on rough methods of transportation, showing inequality and the search for better living conditions. The studio captures a moment where the master sleeps and the apprentice begins his work, symbolizing the passing of knowledge in art. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, appreciation for artistic techniques encouraged the rise of schools and studios, strengthening professional training and recognition for artists. Athletes trained in 1914 for rowing competitions, a sport that was gaining global popularity and was part of the Olympic Games. This period marked the strengthening of amateur sports, encouraging competitive spirit before World War I, which would change the world's sporting and social landscape. Covered wagons crossing the Little Colorado River around 1903 show the challenge of pioneer routes in the American West. This era marks the shift from territorial expansion to the modernization of transportation, which was essential for economic development and the integration of remote regions of the United States. The crowd of people wearing hats in New York reveals the dominant fashion of everyday city life in 1939, shortly before the start of World War II. This striking style reflected the social formality of the time, when the city was a vital center of culture and economy that would influence the world in the following decades. Men moving a building in Ohio reveal innovative engineering techniques from 1916, a time when structures were relocated to preserve heritage or adapt urban spaces. This practice influenced city development, showing appreciation for classic architecture and strategic planning. Rapid urban development in Los Angeles in the 1920s transformed the city into an industrial and cultural center of the United States, driven by modern infrastructure construction. The excavator and women's clothing reflect technological advances and social changes that prepared the ground for the post-war economic boom.